I know one of the most annoying parts of being a project manager is the fact that you're constantly having to remind people of the same things over and over and over again. And you feel in your mind like, why don't you get it? We report on this every 4 weeks. Surely you should have all of this in place already. Surely you should know that I'm going to approach you and ask for your highlight report. I'm going to ask you for an update on the risk. Why can't you be proactive? Why can't you this? Why can't you that? Why do I have to chase? Da, 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 da. And you get into that cycle of just feeling a bit of resentment towards your SMEs or the work stream leads or the stakeholders that you're engaging with. The first thing I want you to note is you are not alone. The second thing is, count it a bit of a privilege, to be honest, that you are having to constantly do that. Because if you didn't, they wouldn't need a project manager. If they didn't need anybody prompting, reminding, collating, facilitating, putting these reports together, putting these assessments together, putting the register, the risk registers, the raid logs, all of that stuff together, if they didn't need that, they wouldn't need you. If they were doing it on their own, you would not be in a job. And that's the reality of it. Because if you think about it as well, from another point of view, these are SMEs, okay? We're dealing with SMEs, and SMEs do project work in addition to their 9 to 5. And you and I both know that on 9 out of 10 projects, they do not bring in new resource. The only thing they bring in is resource to facilitate and support the existing human capital that they have. They don't bring in new human capital who do not know the business, but know and understand the concept or the idea, for example, of finance or supply chain or whatever. They will use who they already have on ground, which means you've got one person doing 2 jobs. So they're not going to prioritize project work. They're not going to focus on highlight reporting. They're going to be focusing on their 9 to 5. They're going to be focusing on the things that are being brought up in their performance review, in their annual review. You're coming in there to support them, to remind them, to do a particular piece of work in a way that they've not done it before. So if you're ever feeling stuck or frustrated or annoyed as a PM that, I feel like a babysitter, don't.